The what happened to this flag? I pledge the flag to the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Hope all is well, and I hope you're doing okay. I hope everybody voted already. We have another hour. So, not much to talk. I know people have seen we removed the trees and the median about 4 weeks ago, and we have it ready for the Nassau County to come in to do the curbs, which they started already. They have removed the old curbs and they're putting the nicer new curbs as we speak. Pretty much everything is in the hands of Nassau County, and we're hoping that they move quickly and be able to get things done before the winter. I don't know, I have seen some catch basins that they're changing. Are they done with those, or they're still continuing? They're rolling. Okay. So, right. So it's going to take, I hope, another couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens. All right. We have a couple of public hearings. You want to start with those? I think it's time.
Very well, Mayor. If I may just make a few brief comments before the public hearings are moved. Tonight there are 4 different public hearings on 4 different but somewhat related local laws. All of the local laws spring from the village's sale of the former sewer pumping station to a developer, which proposes to develop the site with a 63-unit senior living apartment building on the north side of that site, north and west, I believe, which will be physically joined in a single structure to a commercial venue on the southern side and eastern side of the site. This board has previously heard from the developer regarding its development plans when the contract for the site was signed by you pursuant to a resolution of this board, and there have been no changes to the plan since then. One local law relates to the permitted uses in the MU zone. As a result of the proposed project, research was done by my office on the permitted uses in that zone, only to discover that some years ago, the list of permitted uses was somehow inadvertently dropped from your code. This first local law does nothing more than add back into the code the list of permitted uses that has historically existed for that zone. This is essentially an editorial change and does not make any substantive change in the permitted uses. It merely adds the list of permitted uses back into the village code. Thus, although this local law was sparked by the project, our office would be recommending that this editorial change should be made whether or not the project ultimately meets with this board's approval. Another local law proposes to redraw the zoning district lines in that area by moving the current existing G zone across the street and somewhat to the north to replace an area that is currently zoned B. To the
West.
North and west, I believe.
South. North and west.
North and west.
North and west.
Yes. Move it north and west. Okay. Right, to replace an area that is currently in the B zone, and thus allow the proposed multifamily use, which, if enacted, would also be generally consistent with the village's overall plans for development of that area. Another local law is also editorial in nature. The eventual structure to be built on the site will cross 2 zoning lines, the G and the MU, and our current code does not deal with that situation. In discussions with the building department, however, I learned that the department's current interpretation of the existing code is that a building may lawfully cross 2 zoning districts, but that the structure and use of each portion of the building that would be present in each zone would need to conform to the zone requirements in which each portion of the building would exist. In this particular case, the residential portion of the structure would be in Zone G, which permits multifamily residences, and the commercial portion of the building would be in Zone MU, which permits the retail store use that is contemplated. In the opinion of my office, this proposed local law is really nothing more than the enactment of existing interpretation of the code. With that said, clarity is usually beneficial, and my office would be recommending this local law whether or not the board ultimately approves of the specific project. The final local law I would describe as somewhat editorial. Specifically, your village code currently has presumptive expiration periods for building permits, variances, special permits, etc. However, in the course of researching this project, we found that the current code does not provide an explicit presumptive expiration date for incentive adjustments granted under incentive zoning. This local law provides for that and will make incentive zoning approvals expire upon the later of certain conditions, such as the failure of an applicant to provide the amenity required by the grant, or the failure of an applicant to apply for a building permit within 2 years. Of course, this board will always be free to shorten or extend the life of an incentive approval, but this local law will set up a presumptive automatic expiration if the board does not provide otherwise when it grants an incentive. Again, we would recommend passage of this local law whether or not the board ultimately approves of the project currently being contemplated. All 4 local laws, together with the contemplated incentive zoning adjustments and other approvals that would be necessary for this project, have been studied by the village engineer H2M, which has provided its environmental analysis of the impact and made comments. Based upon its comments, we believe you will likely receive recommendations as to a CEQA classification of unlisted with a negative declaration. Copies of the environmental material are available on file with the village clerk and available for public inspection. Finally, we recommend that the public hearings on all 4 of these local laws be carried over to the first meeting date in December, inasmuch as the law requires input from the Nassau County Planning Commission before the village is allowed to enact them. The Commission received our material only last week and has already asked for some supplemental material to complete the application. The Commission is entitled to a 30-day period to provide its input. Based on the foregoing, the Board is free to hear from the public upon the opening of each of the public hearings tonight, but we recommend the hearings not be closed until after receipt of the Planning Commission input. At this point, it would be appropriate, if a member wishes to do so, to open the public hearing regarding the first local law relating to the permitted uses in the MU zone. Does a board member wish to move to open up a public hearing on that matter?
I'll move it.
Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Trustee Kashi. Is there any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And therefore, the public hearing is now open, and it would be appropriate for you to take comments from the public regarding the proposed local law to reenact the MU uses that were editorially, inadvertently dropped out of the code.
Right. Anyone has any comments about the mixed use?
The only comment I'm going to say is, let me use that. Thanks. So, about a year or so ago, somebody came to me with a proposed request to go into a mixed-use zone with something that, even though this fell off our code somehow, but their request, I believe, and I spoke with Peter at the time, wasn't included in here. So I just thought maybe it's a good time for us to look at this list and see if there's anything that should be added or subtracted, maybe.
I looked at the list, and I think one of the things I saw that was a little bit out of character would be construction, or anything that is for construction use.
Right.
We do have those on Steamboat Road. I don't know if I want to bring them again back into East Shore Road. Obviously, car dealers, anything that has to do with storing cars and stuff like that, I don't think the direction of the village should be to use the area. I mean, the ones that are grandfathered, I understand, but that doesn't have the cars.
There are a few things that are obsolete. Video sales and rentals. I think
Right.
Blockbuster's not coming back anytime soon.
Right.
There's just a few things that.
But you can leave those in. It's not going. No one's going to open one just because.
No,
we
I know
have.
that, but
If I may, gentlemen, though, I do note that the construction services is listed under showrooms for sign, awning, canopy, and construction services. So the construction services themselves would
Would be a
not be
showroom.
performed. It's the showroom for those
Okay,
services.
fine. All right.
Yeah, anyway, no, we don't have to decide on it now. It just seems a little arbitrary and random, some of the things on here, so we could take a look at it.
I know, I saw
awards
it.
and trophies, we could.
I don't know. I mean, listen, you know what? I think it's just.
I will just further advise the board that any change to the draft local law, if it is material, and the deletion or addition of a particular type of use would be a material change, would have to be renoticed for a new public hearing. So what you can do, if you choose to do it, is to enact this local law down the road after the Planning Commission comments are in, and then at some later date, amend the list to delete what you want and add
Right.
back in what you want.
That's fine.
It's fine. I personally, I didn't see anything that was, I saw the videos and, as Bart said, I don't think they're coming back anytime.
On-premises
Fair
on-premises developing
Right.
film.
So I'm okay with even, if public has any comments, I guess public has no.
I have you,
That's cool.
certainly. Good evening. Mayor Brawl, Deputy Mayor Sobel, and Village Trustees. I am John Powell, the Assistant Superintendent for Business for the Great Neck Public School District. I'm appearing before you this evening on behalf of the district regarding the proposed local law to amend Section 575-117 of the Village Code in relation to permitted uses in the mixed-use MU zone. It is the district's understanding that this amendment to the Village Code is being considered in connection with a proposed project by Villadom on the Bay LLC located at 265 East Shore Road. The district is in the process of reviewing multiple documents received concerning this and other proposed amendments to the Village Code and the proposed project to determine whether these matters will have any potential impact on the district. I just want to ask the question, have you voted to postpone till the first meeting in December? Has that been done yet?
That vote has not yet been
Oh,
taken,
okay, so I'll
though I
continue with
have
the statement.
recommended it.
I'm sorry
yes.
about that, okay. As a result, we respectfully request that the Village Board of Trustees keep the record open on this matter for a period of time to allow for additional time to submit public comments for your consideration if deemed necessary. Just want to thank you for your courtesies and your thoughtful consideration of this request.
Was there anything particular in the code that is concerning to the school?
No, I'm sorry, Mayor. We just wanted more time to review the documents and to get answers to certain questions on what we felt the impact on the school district would be that we don't have right now.
In
That's the only
575 sub 117 in particular?
If I
Any-
may,
okay.
I apologize for interrupting. I had a conversation with the school district council today in which she indicated that this gentleman might appear before the board. Their interest is in assessing the overall project itself.
Right.
And I advised their council that there are actually 4 separate individual local laws that are related to the project, and that in each case, we would be recommending that the decision on the local laws await the Planning Commission comments, which is required. Nevertheless, council indicated that the school district, through a representative, would likely join in that recommendation and ask you to hold off concluding
So-
the public hearing.
That's fine. I think what your, not objection, but request is for possibly moving the zoning line, and that's probably.
Well,
what-
again, I think the school district council was concerned about having a multifamily project there and wanted
No,
to
but
assess.
this is not discussion today. I mean, not on this.
They wanted to examine what's being proposed.
Each of the 4 local laws, they wanted to say, as a package, could you please hold off until the full
Okay.
assessment of
Which
the
is
project
our
is done?
intention anyway.
Which
Right,
is, I
right,
believe, your intention
right.
anyway.
Right. But I understand, but I don't think it's, okay, that's fine.
Council indicated to me that the representative would probably make the same request for each one of the 4 separate local laws.
Uh-huh, got it. Okay,
Right.
because it's sort of irrelevant to this one, but
Yeah,
okay.
yes, sir, right, okay.
All right, got it.
Uh,
Yep.
Good evening, Sam Yellis, 2 Eyes, and I just have a question, and I'm sorry, I'm not sure which of the 4 proposals, because they all sort of ran together. You had mentioned, I think, in terms of the building, that there were two separate buildings that would be connected?
We're not there yet. No,
Right,
this-
I'm
right.
sorry.
no.
This one,
This
this
one
one is to add back into the code
Okay, so
some
simply
language
that.
that was inadvertently dropped out, the list of permitted uses in the MU
Okay,
zone.
that's fine.
We have to do it separately. So this one was just the list, the new list.
Just while I have the microphone, then, can I ask which one, when you mentioned that there was a building to the east side, which one? So I
The
know where to
proposed
stand up.
development will be to the west of East Shore Road, and on the particular site, the residential portion,
Ah, on the one site, there's an east and west side.
on one
There's a north
site,
and south,
there's a
actually.
There's
north
no
and...
bridge going over East Shore
No,
Road.
No,
No.
no. All, the entire project would be on the west of East Shore Road, but in one single building, there would be two different uses. Each use would be in a different zone.
Maybe a tunnel.
And yeah, I was gonna say, why don't we put a bridge when we can put a tunnel?
Okay. All right. So I think.
So just Kate Goldberg, 26 West End Avenue. So I have question. As far as I understand, you're just returning it back the list, but it still applies to all mixed use apartment buildings. Yes. So in the village. So my question is. Don't you think that it runs a little bit counter to efforts of some residents groups to revitalize the downtown? So this list has many allows also a big shopping center in actually
What center?
shopping center.
Shopping center.
In every mixed-use apartment building, which actually brings, so it will take away the traffic, the shoppers from Middle Neck Road, yes, to different buildings situated outside of the main district. And if there is a shopping center, for example, on East Shore Road, so the efforts to bring as much as possible foot traffic on Middle Neck Road would be difficult because many people will go there. So this is one thing. The other thing is that that will have a big implications on the traffic on the East Shore Road, because you know that if this apartment building additionally to apartments will have a big shopping center in the first floor that will obviously add the traffic to East Shore Road, additionally to the residents who are there in the apartment buildings. So we have, in this place, we have already a big congestion. This is a very narrow area of East Shore Road that has only one lane in one direction. So while north from this area and south from this area, we have two lanes in each direction. So already I use this, I drive in this place every day 4 times at least, and sometimes 5 or 6. So I know this area very good. And it is just across the Avalon building. And it is very narrow. It has several body shops and a huge truck trailers that cannot even turn into the lots of body shops because they are so big and the place is so narrow. So there are school buses that are stopping at the Avalon. So on the other side, you will have another building and the shopping center. So that will increase the traffic even more. So I'm against the apartment building without the shopping center. Apartment building with the shopping center, that will have even worse implications for the traffic. We'll also have 8 street lights on this small.
I apologize for interrupting, but I'm just going to suggest that if that is your position,
Yeah.
you might want to save those comments for the record on the redrawing of the zoning lines, which is going to be the next local law. But I also want to clarify for you that this does not introduce these uses into this area. Large portions of that area are currently zoned MU.
But they explicitly allow them.
No, bear with me. The code used to read that MU permitted uses are 1, 2, 3, and 4, the uses listed in Code Section 575, 129. And when you turn to list the list in that section, there was this set of lists. Somehow that list got dropped out. That code section got deleted. So the building department has continued to use these as the permitted uses in the MU zone. Nothing has changed with regard to that. But we're simply putting the list back in because it got misplaced.
Okay.
So
you're saying it's number C, so point C, yes?
I'm sorry?
The moving of the
the moving of the zone
zoning.
line is a different issue.
Yes,
We're
and
not there.
We're not
Kate,
there
we're
yet.
not there yet.
not there. Okay, that would be the number C, yes?
Yes.
I believe it actually is going to be the next local law.
Oh, the next,
Right.
number B, yes? Okay.
I know for the sake of time, I'm going to ask for a 3-minute time limit, so please adhere to that, and if you can, please have the timer on. And do me a favor, if there are the same things that we're going to talk about, I appreciate you just say I agree with the previous speaker and not repeat the same things again, so we can move on. Yes, is it about this, or you want to talk about the next one that hasn't even come up yet?
Let me just say this, probably because it's kind of quite
No,
complicated.
but Mr. Lee, I'm going to let you speak, but I just want to go according to what you can't talk about a different one unless you want to talk now and then not
If
speak
you want to
another
talk
one.
about,
I'm just talk about one point, and I'm not. That's it.
Okay, I'm just going to point out to you
Yes.
that your remarks will only be considered for the record
of
of
course.
each of the individual.
course.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, Ken Lee, 7 Gothel Lane. Nice to meet Mayor and the boards physically for the first time. Okay. I just have one concern which bothered me a lot after all this many meetings with the boards and with everyone. This is the thing here. Looks like we are spending all the time talking about the zoning, the laws here or there, right? But I also heard about this particular site. It's covering 2 different cross the board building zoning boundary. So the interpretation is that you are within that site, you can only build that, right? You're building this zoning, you can only build this. True, I always respect that, okay? But the thing is that along the way, for example, 733 Middle Neck Road has already violated this law, this completely. They are crossing a single family versus
No, they're not.
multi-family.
I'm sorry,
I
Mr.
know.
Lee.
No,
They're not,
let me
listen,
finish it.
Please,
And it's
but
not
you
even
can't.
3 minutes.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It's not even
finish.
3 minutes.
Go ahead.
Okay. I wonder why, as a board or the community, why we always have inconsistent attitude towards the same thing, same principle, never really be applied accordingly. Okay. So, like you said, if the zoning borderline is over there, then people come back later on. Who cares about your zoning law? They are going to ask for variances, and eventually you allow them to do it. Then we all spend the time talking about this. You spend time doing all the law. Then people take advantage of all those variances and get what they want. So what's the point? Thank you very much. That's it.
Okay. Do you wish me to comment, Mayor?
yeah,
I would like to make a comment. So, a couple of things. One, if what you say is true, we don't need boards. We just need
Zoning board.
people. We don't need any boards.
yeah, that's true.
Because we can just set the law and just leave. We say, okay, this is it, and that's it. No one can do anything different. We just hire people, and they sit down and they do whatever they need to do, and we stay like this for another 200 years. The reason boards exist, the reason villages exist, the reason the government. I'm not done yet, Mr. Lee. Mr. Lee, I heard you. The reason we exist is because we evaluate changes that happen gradually, sometimes suddenly, in the villages and in the town, and based on those things, we decide if something needs to change. That's what we do. 2, what you're saying about 733 and comparing it to this, 2 different issues. 733 went to Board of Zoning, which I'm sure as an architect you're aware that Board of Zoning has the capacity to change and give certain variances to certain buildings if they deem that it's beneficial to the community. That has nothing to do with what we're discussing in today. So that said, your answer is The reason codes exist because we need certain laws. The reason we exist is because there are times that we need to make certain changes, and that's the answer. If you have anything else to add, please.
I was just going to add that the building crossing two zoning lines, which I refer to informally as the split zone local law, is not the local law that we're currently holding the public hearing on. The current public hearing is whether or not to editorially reintroduce the list of permitted uses in the MU zone back into the code. The building department's position is that they're applying the missing list anyway, and we are now just reenacting that list of permitted uses for the MU zone wherever it may exist in the village. The fact is that this was discovered as a result of the research done on this project, and this project will include an MU zone, so I said it's related to the project,
Right.
but even if there were no project, I would be recommending this local law.
Thank you. Any other comments on this change of local law? Hearing none, are we going to just
Move to
table
adjourn,
this?
yeah.
Move to table it until we hear from.
I'm going to suggest the December 7th meeting just so that we can have a target date. Should there be a delay in the Planning Commission or anything of that nature, it may be necessary to adjourn it again, but I'm targeting the December 7th board
Okay,
meeting.
that's fine with me.
Is there then a motion to keep this public hearing open and to reopen the hearing on December 7th?
I believe that was moved by
Moved
Bart.
by the Deputy Mayor and seconded by Trustee Hope. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. The next local law, I believe, is the change. Is there a motion now to open the public hearing on the proposed local law to redraw the zoning lines for that area? Moved by Trustee Kashi and seconded by Trustee Hope. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. At this time, there's a public hearing that is open on the proposed local law to amend the village's zoning map so as to move certain zoning lines. This will introduce the G zone that is on the eastern side of East Shore Road into the area that's now on the western side of East Shore Road and slightly north. Perhaps the building superintendent can physically point out where on the zoning map we're talking.
Just to make sure you're all awake and paying attention.
Now it works.
Steve, could you point out where the existing G and B are, and then what's going to be moved to where?
You look like the weather guy.
Thank you. So right now, this is the mixed use. The mixed use comes straight back. The green comes,
Yeah.
okay, right here. The mixed use now comes straight back to here. This is the residential B. This is all mixed use, all the green, and it comes straight back. We're looking to change this to G and keep the mixed use in line with the rest of the mixed use.
And
on
could you
East
show
Shore
where
Road.
G is currently?
G currently right now is here. This is all the G
And that will be moved across the street?
to here.
And the existing G will stay, correct?
The existing G will stay here.
So you're changing the dotted lines to vertical lines? Not changing the zone. I know, but that area.
You can see the green is mixed use, and the blue.
The blue stripes, you see the blue stripes? That's G.
So the blue vertical will become.
This is all gonna be the same?
Not the green. The green stays green. That is not current. That is proposed. Currently, it's the purple. Currently is the purple. That blue stripes is currently purple.
Half of it is green, and half of it is purple.
Right. Yeah. Wait.
So it just transfers.
So
from
that is the
G.
current map.
Right.
So you're changing some of the mixed to G and some of the B to G.
Correct.
Okay.
Can I ask a question? How many homes are in the?
Use your microphone.
Nothing. Zero.
How many homes are in that rectangle, the proposed rectangle change?
Zero.
Two?
Zero.
Oh,
Yeah,
zero.
that is
Okay.
the site of the former sewer pumping station, I
Oh,
believe.
okay,
Sewer
okay.
plant.
That we
Sewer
are-
plant.
Right now, the
Yeah,
park,
I
the
got it.
cars are parked.
Right.
Okay.
So at this time, the public hearing is open. Does any member of the public wish to comment on the proposed move of the zoning line from the, or to extend the zoning line from the east side over to the west side and move it slightly north?
Mr. Powell?
Good evening again, Mayor Brawl, Deputy Mayor Sobel, and Village Trustees. I am again John Powell, Assistant Superintendent for Business in Great Neck Schools. I'm again appearing before you this evening on behalf of the district regarding the proposed local law to amend Section 575 of the Village Code zoning map, which seeks to reclassify certain property to be wholly within the mixed-use zone on the building zone map. It is the district's understanding that this amendment to the Village Code zoning map is being considered in connection with a proposed project by Villadome on the Bay, LLC, located at 265 East Shore Road. The district is in the process of reviewing multiple documents recently received concerning this and other proposed amendments to the village code and the proposed project to determine whether these matters will have any potential impact on the district. As a result, we respectfully request that the Village Board of Trustees keep the record open on this matter for a period of time for additional time to submit public comments for your consideration if deemed necessary. We want to again thank you for your courtesies and your thoughtful consideration of this request.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm still Sam Yellis at 2 Ellie's Lane. So my question is, and I'm sorry, I'm colorblind, I don't know if they're blue or purple, but the polka dots that are north of Vista Hill Road, between East Shore Road and West Terrace, that's south of the sewer plant. Does the zoning change affect those polka dots also?
Yes.
A portion.
A portion of it, not the whole thing.
Not the existing house.
Here, look.
Could you put it, could I point, so we're talking about, this is a different one, so.
That's the new one.
That's a new one.
So what are these hexagons?
This,
Existing.
The sewer
that's
thing,
B.
no?
This is existing,
No,
and then this.
Brian, show him the
Well,
sewer plans.
I see
So
this.
go back to the before.
No, the sewer plans right there.
So this is existing.
I see.
So you see how this is just the
Yes,
small
and now you've
rectangle,
added
and then
this.
it comes like this.
Gotcha. And what is this property now?
Vacant.
Well, this is still part of the same.
Part of the, yes, it's all
I
part of the
see, it
same.
just lies within the different.
It's an L-shaped lot,
I see.
and half of it is, right now, is mixed use in B district. So that's why we're looking to change it.
Is any of that part of the 53 Vista Hill property?
It was purchased by
At
the.
That
one
was
time-
purchased.
Yes.
At one time it was.
It was
One time it
purchased by the.
And now that's part of the, thank you.
Seeing, oh, sorry.
So again, Kate Goldberg. So my first question is, isn't it necessary to have secret determination considering the history of pollution on this property?
Secret?
Yes.
Yes.
So will the public see it?
Yeah, yes, the environmental
Kate,
material.
we're not there yet, but yeah.
Well, the environmental studies have been done and were submitted to the village, I think about a week to 2 weeks ago, and they're now in the village clerk's office, and they're available for inspection by the public.
Oh,
But no secret determination has yet been made by this board, and that will happen before the local law is enacted, if it is to be enacted.
but it should be enacted today.
No, have a public hearing
But it's
on the
not today,
proposal.
the decision, yes?
Correct.
Okay.
I have recommended that, and the last local law was held over until December 7th, when more comments can be taken.
I see. Okay, good. Okay, then I repeat all things say, that I started to say, so that extending this zoning will obviously make it possible to make a bigger construction there, the bigger housing, the bigger mixed-use housing, plus allowed shopping center, so with it. And I'm starting with traffic, so I driving every day on this place.
But Kate, you know what? If you
and-
said it again, you don't need to repeat. We have it on the
Yes,
record.
I just wanted to be sure that this is
No, we remember.
Yes,
We
and
all
you
have good.
remember?
We still
Okay.
remember.
I also, because I finished on the H traffic lights that are there in this place, I want to remember you also that there are 8 traffic lights in this 1 mile, and these traffic lights are grid locking the flow of the cars, and maybe in connection with this project, you would once reconsider all these cows happening there.
Those will be discussed with Nassau County, as we have before.
Okay, but you are making this zoning and all this together. I just think that you should be also interested that a
Absolutely.
street in your
Absolutely.
yes in your village is somehow functional, because I guess that after you add this even bigger mixed-use apartment house there, the traffic will explode even more, as it happened after Avalon opened, and this is just across the Avalon. And I don't think this is a good idea to make 2 same kind of sort of buildings of the same huge size just across each other and block this street even more. Also
So
because
just to correction, Avalon is 191 units. This is 60 units.
I
65
believe
units?
63, as I
63
recall.
units.
yeah, but this
So-
is 63 more, not 63 less.
Right. But we all know, and I'm sure you do, and if you don't, I think you should really try to find out. Avalon did not increase the traffic, and I think everybody agrees.
So please, I am driving there. Seriously, I am
Okay.
driving this street every day
All right.
for
Okay.
8 years, and after Avalon opened, I could not. Before that, it was 10 minutes. I was driving to fencing my children and community drive. It was 10 minutes. So after Avalon, it was less than 10.
Do you know that I
minutes,
live there
actually
also,
8
right?
minutes. So
You know that I live there. You know that I take that every day.
yes, I know, but you take this at 6 a.m.
No, I take it at any time. No.
I am driving every morning at 7:30, and I avoid it because there is always, and exactly
No.
this area where there is always
Okay.
some slowdown.
But this is not even.
This is
7:30.
objectively arguable, but we're gonna.
It's not objectively arguable. You can look at the Google
Well,
Maps.
that means it's objectively arguable.
Sorry?
That means it's objectively arguable.
Okay, what I'm saying is that you can look at the Google Maps that there is a slowdown exactly at this place. So if you are adding to this place that is already slowed down even more, that will be
All right.
even
Okay.
We will
less
take
and
that
even
into consideration.
slower.
Okay.
So I just ask you to understand the impact, to
Yes.
acknowledge the
I have-
impact that
yes.
it will have, and to take care of the problem that already exists, and that will be even worse because of this.
Yes.
My second.
But is it 3 minutes yet? Because it seems like about 5 minutes already. Thank you, Kate.
Sorry, but you are always answering me, so it.
Yeah,
takes
because
long.
you need
Okay,
to be
thank
answered.
you.
It's okay.
But
Thank you.
okay.
Anyone else has comments? Yes. Jean.
Jean Pierce, 44 Arundel Avenue. It's not a comment, it's a question. When you purchased that back piece of property from the residential homeowner, I forget how much you paid for it, but at the time, you bought that back piece, and I think I questioned why were you buying it. You obviously had some kind of thought for the future for it, which is now coming to today, what it was bought for. At that time,
Just a correction. It wasn't bought for this, but I just want to
No.
make correction that it
Well-
wasn't bought for this.
you must have bought it for some reason. or
It
other.
was bought, as I explained then, and I say it again, it added a significant value to a village property.
Okay, so when you bought it from him because he couldn't sell it 6 years before,
He didn't want to sell at 6 Bears
Oh,
before.
yes, he did. I remember I was at the meeting and Mayor Kreitzman
Okay.
said no.
Okay.
Okay,
When
it
you
wasn't.
came along, you bought it. But when you did, that was residential property. When he sold it to you, I assume it went through Nassau County. It was like subdividing a lot, really. He was selling a piece of his property, which was subdividing it. I don't know the correct.
What's the point?
That is the point I'm asking you. Did he go through the process of subdividing the property?
Of course.
It's us, the
And it
village.
was all done
Yeah.
at Nassau County?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
Yes.
so now he wasn't paying taxes on that whole property. Was the village paying taxes on that extra piece of property you acquired and like commercial taxes? How does that work?
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
tell that.
Yes,
I believe what you're referring to is the piece that was sold to the village.
Yeah.
How much of it was taken off the tax base? Is that your question?
No, the homeowner, it would have been taken off because he no longer owned X
That is
amount.
correct. It made about $150 difference in his taxes. Because that piece of property was landlocked that he could not do anything
Yeah, we
with
know
it.
that.
So it had basically no value to him.
Well, it was his backyard. He could have grown
He
something
could
there.
not use it. It was on
You
a slope.
do. You
Minute. Because again, that's a very
But you do pay taxes for that piece of property since you
Okay.
acquired it.
Mm-hmm.
Point being.
That's the, I
Oh,
want.
so you just wanted to say that we pay taxes?
Do you?
I don't
Have
know.
you
Do
been-
we pay taxes on it?
Have you been paying?
he requested for it to be tax exempt, correct? I don't know.
I can't hear.
Not that piece of property because the taxes are so low on it, but we could actually do it, but it's not worth going through the.
It sounds like
What does it have to do with this, with the
Because
proposal?
This is the one we're doing, number B, right?
Yeah, but I'm still. You see, the reason I ask
Well,
you.
if you're confused, can you imagine?
No,
how
because your
confused
question
I
is
am?
not relative.
Oh, yeah.
Is not related to whatever we're discussing, Gene.
Yeah,
We're
exact-
discussing
exact-
changing the zone. You're
Yeah.
discussing who
But
owned it.
You're
Okay,
no, wait,
Gene.
You're changing the, you want to change the zone on a piece of property, but it belongs to the village, so it's commercial now, right? It wouldn't be residential.
It is still in the residential zone.
it's in the same zone that it was.
But we pay taxes for that piece of property, do we or don't we?
We do.
Let's say we do. I don't know
No,
what.
don't say let's say. Do
We
or
do.
don't
We do pay county taxes. Yes,
You just said let's say we do. Do you really know?
we do.
We do
We
pay
do.
taxes.
Okay, thank
That's all you wanted to know, that we pay taxes on it?
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Okay.
If there are no
Anyone else wants to pay? I mean, wants to pay taxes.
If there are no further comments from the public, may I request a motion to continue this public hearing over until December 7th?
Yes, I
So
move.
moved.
Moved by the Deputy Mayor, seconded by Trustee Kashi. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. Mayor, at this time, it would be appropriate for a trustee, if he chooses to do so, to move to open a public hearing on the so-called split zone local law. That is a proposed local law that would enact current department policy to allow and require that a single building which crosses zoning lines meet the dimensional and use requirements of each of the two zones for that portion of the building located in that zone. Is there a motion to open a public hearing on that proposed local law? Moved by Trustee Hope, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak on that local law?
Good evening again, Mayor Brawl, Deputy Mayor Sobel, and the village trustees. Again, I'm John Powell, Assistant Superintendent for Business, Great Neck Public Schools. I am again appearing before you this evening on behalf of the district regarding the proposed local law to amend/clarify Section 575 of the Village Code with respect to uses in buildings which cross zoning lines. It is the district's understanding that this amendment/clarification to the village code is being considered in connection with a proposed project by Villadom on the Bay LLC, located at 265 East Shore Road. The district is in the process of reviewing multiple documents recently received concerning this and other proposed amendments to the village code and the proposed project to determine whether these matters will have any potential impact on the district. As a result, we respectfully request that the Village Board of Trustees keep the record open on this matter for a period of time to allow for additional time to submit public comments for your consideration if deemed necessary. We again thank you for your courtesies and your thoughtfulness in consideration of this request.
Sir and members of the board, I apologize, I should have thought of this earlier, but if his comments are written, he could simply submit the writing into the record rather than force you to read them each time, but that's up to you.
Yeah, I would do that to save you time. I'm sorry.
Sure,
If
no,
I had
I
known
should
that,
have,
I would have done it.
and I should have
apologize.
said that at
Take
an
your
earlier
time.
point. My apologies.
Okay, I will put that in. I won't make a comment on the floor.
Fair enough, okay. Okay. Does any other member of the public wish to speak on this proposed local law? This is the split zone local law that for a building that crosses in two zones, that the building must comply with the dimensional and use requirements of each of the zone in which that portion of the building is located, which is the current department policy and would now simply be enacted into law. Seeing none. Is there a motion to hold this public hearing over until December 7th?
So moved.
Moved by Trustee Mendelson, seconded by the Deputy Mayor. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Mayor, is there a motion to open a public hearing on the fourth proposed local law, which relates to
At this time,
create?
I move.
I'm sorry?
I move.
Okay. A motion is made by the mayor, seconded by Trustee Kashi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. So there's now open a public hearing on a proposed presumptive expiration date of incentives granted under any incentive zoning.
We moved and it's open, yes.
This is easy.
One second, I just want to take his,
Let the record reflect that the school district has submitted written comments.
Okay. It's just number 4, because I made statements.
Okay. And that document is accepted into the record.
Thank you, yes. So noted.
What are the incentives?
I'm sorry?
What are the incentives?
Jean, go ahead.
Okay.
Well, that's a real.
No, I'm going
No.
to ask. No,
Yes,
I'm going to ask him to
let me give you
explain
a two-part answer, if I may. First, as I mentioned before in my remarks, separate and apart from the proposed project, having nothing to do with the proposed project, I learned that your current village code does not have an expiration date on incentives. I learned that as a result of research on this project, but it is a separate, standalone, different issue. So I'm recommending to the board the enactment of a local law creating an expiration date for incentives. That will certainly apply, part B of my answer, if the board approves the project, if the board also grants incentives under the proposal for the project, then this will create a presumptive expiration date for those incentives as well. The specific incentives, I believe there were 4 of them in the application for the building permit. I don't have that application in front of me, but they had to do with height and setbacks, as I recall. Superintendent, do you recall the specific incentives being requested, which are not being granted by the enactment of this local law? In
I'm
order
just
to grant such
respectfully,
incentives, they
Peter,
would have
I'm
to have a
respectfully
separate
going to ask
resolution.
that this is not even on the agenda that we're going to discuss.
That is correct.
This is not, we're not discussing the incentives. The incentives will be discussed when the project comes to us.
This is to
This is
limit the
just
incentive.
village-wide enactment of law, that if you ask for an incentive, you have 2 years to put in your application, and after that, if you don't do your due diligence, it will expire. That's all it's saying. It has nothing to do with this project, even though, as he mentioned, he came across it because of this project. But it's not for this project alone. Anyone in the village that comes and asks for an incentive, these laws will apply to him. That's all.
They exist already in our code.
Well, that's what I thought.
They've been there
I
for 7
know.
years. Yeah.
But sometimes the applicant can say, I'm not going to pay it.
Yes, that happens.
Just
And
happened.
as if and
Why
when.
don't we have a law about that?
Right. I'm simply pointing out to the board that if you go to the village code and you look up building permits, it says in the code, if you don't do something with your building permit in a certain amount of time, it expires.
Yeah.
Same is true with variances. Okay. But there was no similar clause for incentives. So I'm recommending to the board that they enact a comparable kind of clause for incentives.
Thank you. Thanks.
Any further comment from a member of the public? Hearing none, is there a motion to hold this public hearing over until December 7? Moved by Trustee Kashi, seconded by Trustee Hope. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Mayor, all 4 local laws are now held over, the public hearings for each of the 4 local laws, until December 7. The next order of business is to schedule a public hearing on a proposed local law to opt out of the state's plans to allow retail sales of certain cannabis-related products, as well as to allow on-site consumption of such products. Mayor, as the board is probably aware, New York State has now legalized the use of certain cannabis products. Perhaps best known is that marijuana and cigarettes are now in roughly equal legal status. Broadly speaking, villages are not empowered to ban marijuana use, except to the extent that tobacco products would be similarly banned. However, the state has also set up a system by which it will license retail sales of such products and license on-premises consumption. For these latter 2 things, the state allows villages to opt out, in which case the state will not grant any license to a business within that village. However, any opt-out must take place by December 31st of this year. If the village changes its mind and wants to allow licensed facilities down the road, it is free to do so. However, if the village does not opt out by December 31, it may not opt out thereafter. By passing this local law, the village gets the benefit of watching what other communities do and how well licensed facilities work into the fabric of the communities. Next year or the year after, Great Neck can change its mind and allow licensed facilities. But if it does not initially ban them, it cannot ban them after January 1. For that reason, that is, to preserve its options until it has the benefit of seeing how well the new system works, I recommend the board entertain this local law. Is there a motion to set a public hearing date on the proposed local law? Trustee Hope, are you scheduling a particular night?
I'm suggesting that we can pick a night.
Okay, there's no reason, on this one, we don't have to hold off for Planning Commission comment. So you could schedule the public hearing at the next meeting or whatever meeting you choose.
Before December 31st.
Yes, sir, you would have to enact the local law before December 31st.
December 16th. November 16th.
I will not be here, just for the record, but I can just say that I do agree with this, to enact the law to opt out.
Okay. Then, with that
On the
said, Trustee Hope, I believe your motion is to set a public hearing date on this proposed local law for November 16. Is there a second? Seconded by Trustee Mendelson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously. Mayor, I believe that concludes my portion of this evening's program.
Okay, have a good night. Just-
Thank you.
Okay.
So what happens November 16th if somebody, member of the public can't be here?
Well,
Do
generally
you thi-
speaking,
Well, go ahead.
generally speaking, Mayor, the public hearings I've observed in this village tend to be on a single night, and the board can close the public hearing that night. However, if someone cannot make the meeting, but is aware of the public hearing, they can do what the school district representative just did, which is to submit written comments, which can then be taken into the record.
Do you expect anyone to be against opting out?
There are people that would, but I won't be here on the 16th, so
that are against opting out? Meaning like they would want to have cannabis being sold in the village of Great Neck?
Not me, but there are. Yeah.
All right, I think the majority of people probably wouldn't, but okay, we'll take that into consideration.
And again, we could reconsider it in the future after we see how it goes. But if we don't opt out now, then we foreclose our ability. Yeah. Okay.
Where do you propose that written comment for anything, whether it's this or something else, is to be submitted?
Written comments should be sent to the village clerk and indicate in the correspondence that you wish these comments to be entered into the record in the public hearing on this topic.
Or any topic?
Or any topic for any particular public hearing.
You would be surprised.
Okay. I'll be very surprised to hear people wanting one, but okay. Nothing surprises me, but
Listen, people may want it. That's fine, but
I'm for it because of money.
no, but
I'm going to tell you, 45 years ago, I fought against having. There was a shop that opened up, a store that opened up, and they were selling all the paraphernalia for smoking marijuana.
okay.
And I wrote to all the rabbis. It was easy then because we only had 5 temples. I wrote to the rabbis, I wrote to the 2 churches, and I wrote to each of our villages in Great Neck. That place closed down at the end of the month.
Okay.
It was gone.
Good work, I guess.
That was now 45 years later. I'm 81 and I'm here fighting again.
Okay.
Fighting for them, you're not fighting.
We're not fighting it.
no, we are actually saying we don't want to have them.
No.
So that you do?
No.
So that's what we said.
Understanding me tonight.
But she's got friends who do want
So you have friends who do want them here.
I don't have friends, but I know the community.
Listen,
All right, listen, you know what we have?
some
obviously,
people will want it, some people will not. We're just whatever.
listen,
we'll make a
there's,
choice.
I'm sure it's readily available. Amazon may start shipping it soon. I don't know.
No.
I really think Amazon may ship it soon.
Okay. Moving
What is
on.
it? Okay, moving on. All right.
New business B.
The item B is a proposal to purchase IT devices for Village Hall. As you know, the laptops or the tablets that you're using is antiquated. And I spoke to the IT providers for the village. They recommended that either we buy Microsoft Surface, like that one, or Lenovo. That I am going to show it in a moment. This is the one that they suggested directly from Lenovo. This is they're suggesting that it's your i5 generation with the 11 processor, minimum of 8 GB of memory, minimum of 256 GB of hard drive, camera 14 inches, touch screen with the Wi-Fi 6 capabilities. This is the one that came across. It turns into a tablet as well. If we actually look at the pictures. Here. It actually, if you look at, for example, this picture, it could be, it could be a tablet or it could be a laptop at the same time. It's pretty powerful, and they have it actually readily available to ship. The other one that they suggested to us is a Microsoft, like this one. This is a Surface Laptop 4. It's $1,300. It's available to ship. As you can see, it's in stock right now. Unfortunately, a lot of computer equipments are not available to be shipped. This one is in stock. It's a very powerful laptop that they suggested. It's $1,300. It has all the capabilities as I just mentioned. The last one that they also mentioned is this one. This is just a laptop. It's not it does not turn into a tablet. It's a special order, however, that will take between 2 to 4 months.
And how many of these are we proposing to get?
It's up to you. They're saying that all 3 are very good.
No, how how
Units.
many are we
I
proposing?
would suggest either 6 or 7, 5 for the board members. I'm using my own if it can, we have one for here, and if Brian can just type in rather than writing it. But again, it's up to the board whether to.
I don't mind the first one you showed. I just think, believe it or not, 8 gigabytes of RAM going forward is probably.
This is
the
more. This
minimum.
is actually 12.
Yeah.
What I mentioned is the minimum that they requested,
Okay.
or they said it should. It's actually a 14 inches also. The one that you're using now, it's 12 inches. So this is actually slightly bigger, and I believe it's. I had the weight of it somewhere here. I don't see it right now, but it's not more than 2 pounds. It's pretty light.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a warranty with this?
There's 1 year warranty, but as you know, we have the IT that they offer us unlimited tech support for the same price. So if anything happens
is
to
it is it a necessity at this time? I don't know. You guys have an issue with your laptops? I mean, mine keeps shutting down, but
I don't, I'm fine with this.
I'm using mine because mine kept shutting down. But I
So
use my own personal
Other than
one.
the board, who else needs it?
no, but the board asked if we could get prices.
oh really?
Yeah.
I remember last
We did.
time.
Yeah.
Oh, we did.
I didn't put it on my own.
Okay.
I mean,
We could hold off.
we can hold off. Let's maybe
Okay.
discuss it next meeting. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
All right.
it's okay.
The
Thank you.
next item on the agenda is a request for a temporary storage located at 26 Chadwick Road.
He's not here.
Who's that? Okay, that's
Mike Fuller.
okay.
The
And he
request is to
started
put
doing
it.
his,
What?
construction.
I guess.
The request is to put at the end of this week for a month to be removed by December 3rd.
Where is he putting it?
Driveway.
And he's gonna have enough room to park his car, or he's gonna park in the street?
Was this discussed with him?
I don't know that answer. There'll be no problem.
I'm sure the gentleman has other arrangements for it.
I know, because I mean, if anything, I don't want him to get tickets. So.
Well, we could work it out.
Yeah, we
Okay.
can work it out.
As long as, I mean, as long as we know.
This is a hardship because of the flooding that happened.
I don't have an issue with it, I just wanna make sure that that's taken care of. Okay,
I'll make sure I mention it to the homeowner.
okay. If he wants, I think he needs to let us know, so, I'll move.
Is there, okay, it's moved, it's moved and seconded, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Trustee Kashi? Thank you, it's unanimous. The next item is the application for correction of errors for a property located at 199 Western Road. Brian will explain about it.
So basically what happened here was there was a miscommunication between the assessor and the building department several years ago on this property. As you can see, the property had applied to build a house.
Where is this again?
This is on 199 West Shore, Dwight Lane.
Okay,
So they had put in an application to build a home there. The home was obviously not completed. There was some miscommunication between the assessor and the building department several years ago, where the assessor was under the impression that the home was actually completed and assessed the value as if there was a brand new home on the property. However, the property owner realized this year, recently, that wait, I'm paying these taxes for a new home, I just have the foundation there. So they submitted an application for a refund and to correct the assessment roll, which the assessor reviewed, as you can see from this letter here, attached with his calculations for the refund.
what is it,
For the 3 years, they're entitled to, according to New York State law, they're entitled to up to 3 years of a refund, and that works out to being $10,684.
how many years have they been paying this?
4 years, I believe.
So they've been paying for 4 years,
They just realized.
and, well, forget that, and that, my concern is that that place has been just the foundation for 4 years?
This is a current picture.
I know, but the foundation's been there for 4 years?
Correct.
What happened to the building?
I'm not
They
sure what
forgot-
exactly.
they
Do you
forgot
know
the
what
rest?
happened at the property?
They have on my watch.
Uh,
My watch. I don't know. It's the first I'm hearing of it.
The guy built this for his mother, and he stopped building it. He built on Ratcliffe. He cut the property in half, built on Ratcliffe, and this kind of ended up being small quickly, and it stopped building.
There was some issues and there was a stop work order and they just never picked it up.
Are we going to let this just sit like this forever?
I'm just made aware of it now, but I'll.
It looks like a big property. What is the property size?
It's part of that whole White Lane, East Shore Road.
I don't really understand how it has a West Shore Road address, even though
There's
it
a
looks.
subdivision off of
Yeah,
West
West
Shore
Shore Road is one private road.
It's west.
No, so what is it say?
What is it?
It's not Bob Bontax, like subdivision?
no, that's not his.
That's not the owner.
That is not the owner.
No,
That's a
that
different
street has
property.
4 different addresses in there. There's the A, B, C, and D. Right.
And it couldn't be that he built it 4 years ago. I don't get it. How the hell has this place been sitting like this for 4 years?
Nobody's been watching, you see.
The properties. This is the property on that Trustee Kashi was referring to. This was subdivided.
Yeah, this is one big property, and they kind of have built this, they built this, they stopped building this because there was.
And then they never built this.
So
Yeah.
they built the one in the back, the one in the front.
The one in the back is in Village of Kings Point.
Uh huh. And that one they didn't build. They poured the.
The foundation and they just stopped. I believe there was some issues with it. If I remember correctly from previous building inspector, Mr. Formigia, there was some issues that they put stop work order and they never fixed it, so they just abandoned it.
What does the code say about something like this being abandoned?
I deem it unsafe, and I'm gonna look into having it filled in.
You know the owner?
Yes, I got this.
You don't need to mention. I don't know who they are. I just.
You know, when you say fill in, what would you fill in the foundation? Like,
Yeah.
with,
To level the whole thing.
really?
Pour concrete.
I will work with the superintendent on this. There are likely a number of steps. First, contacting the owner, advising him to remedy the situation and make it safe. But failing that, there'll be steps that the building superintendent can take to render the premises safe.
Maybe they can put in a public pool. Hmm? Yeah, maybe they can add a pool to their backyard for the Kings Point house.
No, that's in the Village of Great Neck.
So I know, but they can put it together again, put a swimming pool, 12 feet deep. It's already have the concrete. It's not a bad idea. Yeah, okay, the tax, I mean, listen, I understand.
Is there a motion to approve the refund of 10,684?
Well, before we move, I just want to make sure that, we should go ahead and release this amount back to them, or we have to look into see if there are ways of making sure that they do what we ask them to do.
The board is certainly free to not act on this proposal tonight.
Right, so I'm asking the board to table this until we investigate further.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
So, are you approving the refund on a
No,
condition,
we're
or you're not even?
we're tabling.
Just tabling the item.
Okay.
Mayor, the next 3 items are professional service contracts, and I've been discussing them with Mr. Cohen, and I've had some suggestions to make that have not yet been moved into the final document. So I would ask that these 3 contracts be held over until the next meeting.
Okay, so noted.
The last item on the agenda for new business is just one moment, let me get to it on the screen. There you go. It's a proposal to fix the light located at Cary Road and East Road, West Road Road?
Willie's Lane East.
Woolies Lane East. We have asked multiple electricians to give us a price for this. Unfortunately, with the shortage in the market, there is nobody available to give it to us. The only proposal that we could get was from Anchors Electric, which we have a contract with, and the proposal called for $8,400. This is a 200 feet of directional drilling with 1.5 PVC and number 6 conductors at $42. It comes out at $8,400. We were not able to get any other quotes. I remember a couple years ago we went for a brown court, if you remember. We had the other company coming and fixing it, but unfortunately
How much did they charge us, remember?
It was like half.
it was half of what this proposal was.
They did the miscellaneous.
For the same
Well, it was
venue?
not the same, but the two proposals that we got, one was from Anchors, one was from the other company. Anchors was almost double the other company, and we used the other company. Unfortunately, the other company is just not available anymore. He's the person.
The miscellaneous.
Right. They didn't actually dig out the whole place. They used missiles, which is.
Right.
Trustee Hope knows what I'm talking about.
Do you have anyone that would be able to do this?
No, special thing, they put a missile and it digs under the ground.
Under the sidewalk.
Or under the ground, under the sidewalk, under anything, and it just drills a hole under the ground.
Correct.
And then they shoot the wire through it.
Correct.
Without digging up the road.
Correct.
No, I
So
understand, but
But
I'm
we
asking-
can't get
I'm
him
not
to come
asking
back
you
to do it.
But do you know any company that does it?
You know who might know? The one, Michael Moslin, who's runs the ARC. He has some background in this, so he may have some.
Not on
insight.
this.
No, he
No.
does
Electrical.
with electrical.
Electrical, yeah, but this is.
We need to move on this.
That's this whole day.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
they do
yes.
all
That's
day.
what they do. Yes. This light has been out for a long time, and again, we tried. Brian called multiple, and nobody just wants to come and look at
And
it.
it has to
unfortunately.
be done from under, it can't be from above?
Correct.
It's underground.
It's underground power.
I'll move to approve it.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor. Is there a second?
Can we negotiate with them a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, how much does it? Do we have anything comparable that they've done for us before?
They are the contractor
No,
for
I
the
know,
village.
but anything comparable to this particular job?
It's almost as.
The
It,
price
it,
would
it,
be
it
the
is
same?
comparable to what they
Oh.
charge. It's
Shooting
not like
200 feet underground.
right.
Right, so the other thing also is,
This is not shooting. Actually, they are digging out.
Yeah.
That's why it's more expensive than that.
see, the other thing is, if there's nobody else to compete with
I
them,
understand. I'm
they
just
can,
thinking.
they
of-
can say
yeah.
$10,000.
Don't suggest it.
I mean, all the jobs that are created, it's crazy, you know?
It's moved by Deputy Mayor. Trustee Hope, did you second that? Sure. Okay. It's moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. It's unanimous. The next item are the minutes for.
And by the way, before we just question, these things unfortunately happen often, that we have these underwires that for whatever reason get disconnected. Are they going to give us any guarantee or warranty, at least 10 years, 15 years, that this, no. So this can happen again next year and then we have to pay another $10,000?
We don't know exactly what happened underground, but usually once you fix it, it's good for at least 5-10 years.
I mean, each
So
light's
they've,
going to cost us
they've
$10,000.
explained to us in the past that the power lines, the existing power lines underground are very old lines that after many years of being underground and wear and tear from salt
I
and
understand,
everything,
they
so
say that it's...
they're deteriorating. So,
Okay.
we can't give a exact warranty on it.
Yeah, we did. I just wanted to find out. Okay.
The next
Okay.
item is a minute for October, minutes from Oct.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'll move the minutes.
October 19th is moved by Deputy Mayor. He already read it. Seconded by Trustee Hope.
Aye.
Aye.
And it's unanimous. Thank you. The last item is the abstract for this upcoming Friday, November 5th.
So you answered one of my questions. The other is, I know this sounds like a trivial thing, but for the Cintas first aid kits,
Yes.
I noticed that there was a big increase in the cost for one of them. Usually, there was one where it was $341, and I know it sounds trivial compared to some of the other expenses, but usually it's in the $100 range.
I believe this is, there are two things that we get from Centus. One is first aid.
Yeah, this is specifically first aid.
This is not uniforms.
No, it's not uniforms. It's first aid. I
Not sure
showed
what they have.
Brian-
This, sometimes, for example, they replace the pads for the AED. AED.
It
I
didn't
think.
include that. That's why it struck me as odd.
I have to go back and ask them what it was.
Okay. Other than that, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
It's moved by Trustee Mendelson, seconded by Deputy Mayor. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's passed unanimous, and I'll get back to you regarding the
Okay,
sentence.
thanks.
Public comment?
Yep.
Hi, Karen Bardash, 119 Maple Street.
Okay.
I have environmental concerns regarding the East Shore Road property, and I don't want to take time on that now if that's not the appropriate time. So that's going to be taken up in December?
Yes.
December, what was the date again?
7.
Okay, so in preparation of tonight's meeting to find out about the East Shore Road property, I watched the recording of the September 14th Board of Trustees meeting, and there are 3 points that I want to bring up. There were residents' concerns that have not been rectified yet. Number 1 was removing the 2-hour parking signs from Maple Street. On Maple Street where I live, we have 2-hour parking signs, and that was brought up at September 14th. Is there a possibility of removing those limits, time limits on our street? That was brought up at September 14th.
I think the reason why it was brought up is because it had to do with the students who were parking there.
But now we have, but we don't, I believe it was brought up to have them removed. They do have the parking lots now.
Right,
So
but
to have
many of the students are still.
There's nobody parking on the street, but if I have a friend over, it's really hard to be like, oh, you gotta go now, because, I mean, it's just other places in Great Neck, you have at least a 3-hour limit, but this is a 2-hour limit. So I was just wondering, could we extend it to 4 hours? Because it's a very short period of time, so if we're having guests over, 2 hours is very limited. So,
I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it.
I don't have a problem. The only thing is I just want to make sure that it's going to be used by your friends and
yes.
not by students who refuse to park in the parking
They're-
lot. And
right now, I really
actually,
don't,
we have the
see that
school
many.
representative here.
I don't see that, and students, because it is a little bit
I don't
further,
live there, so I don't
you
know.
and if you
But
just put a 4-hour sticker, you don't have to redo the whole sign to save money, but there's not.
the issue is not saving money. I think you
Yeah.
just, one of the reasons we have any time limits for businesses and elsewhere is because we don't want someone to come park their
Right.
car there the entire day
Right.
and be gone. And then
Right.
if 5 people do it, that whole street's going to be taken.
Right,
And it actually affects the neighbors in a negative way.
right, I understand that.
Now, I don't know.
We have very little, it's not like there's parking on the, like, it's not being used right now. And I don't think, I'm not saying give it a whole day parking, because a school day is more than 4 hours. And I don't want to take my whole 3 minutes on that, I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's a pretty, and it's a nice wide street, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's my first.
That's on me. That's
My
on
first
Beach or me?
point. My second point was, there was suggestion or request to put a stop sign at Church Street where it intersects with Beach, and that hasn't been done yet. And I see if the village did just plant a tree actually on that corner as well, and there are shrubs, and if we can just have a 3-way stop there, that would be appreciated.
I thought we directed Louis
We
to
discussed it, but Louis said that it's going to create a
backlog, right?
on Sundays.
I mean, if there's it's not that much traffic coming out on Sundays, and if nobody's coming, they stop and move and stop and move. It's not like a traffic light. So if you have a stop sign and there's nobody coming,
I think Louis mentioned, and it's true, that the church used to have Sunday school.
But they don't
and
now.
events, they haven't been having that for many
Right.
years. So you don't really have, unless they have mass or something where everybody leaves at once and needs to exit out onto the beach.
and they can also exit out of, I think that's Brewer and
But if they do have
around.
an event and they do need to exit out, it would cause a big,
Right,
big
but that's,
backlog.
once in, compared to what goes down Beach Road all the time.
I I will say this, because I lived there also, and I think I mentioned this in the past. I'm living there 22 years, and it does bother me that there's no stop sign on Church, but there's never been an accident in my memory at that intersection in that 22 years. Pretty much indicates that maybe it's not
Right.
an urgent thing.
Okay. And the last thing was, let me put my glasses on here, with the demolishing the buildings at 733, 741 Middle Neck Road, the question was posed in September that should the developer, the owner of the property, not receive the desired tax incentive from NCIDA, would the village order him to demolish the dangerous and derelict buildings? Mayor, you said, let's wait and see what NCIDA decides, and since then, it has been tabled. So for the safety and aesthetics of our village, I was wondering if we will see that building demolished in the near future?
I think based on my understanding, they're waiting for the election, which is ended now, and we'll see based on the result, they're going to come up if they're going to make they're going to accept or deny the IDA. So let's get back to it in about 2 weeks when we know who's the.
Okay. Okay, and then I have two new items. I do live on Maple Street, which is an extremely long, like, throughway with a double yellow line. It's very heavily trafficked, especially in the morning at drop-off time. It goes between Beach and Arundel.
Okay.
And it's very, very long and very, very straight, and there's extreme speeding down the street. And even buses speed down the street. And sometimes at night, I'm waking up hearing cars ripping down the street.
Maple and Arundel, Beach and Arundel?
Between Beach and Arundel's Maple.
perpendicular.
It's extremely wide street with a double yellow line. And
The sixth precinct?
no, but I mean, I just would like to see if there's some way to measure the speed, because it's constant. It's not like one
They
off.
have a double yellow line?
Yeah, we have a
I didn't know
double
that.
yellow line. I don't even know why. And Arundel also, from Maple Street down to the traffic light on Middle Neck Road, it's like zoom, and people, especially at the end of the school day, try to make that light. So if there's some way that Nassau County, with the help of the village, can monitor the speed or put one of those signs like your speed is.
Right, so we asked that from Nassau County about 5 years ago, multiple times, and never came through. So we'll wait again. I'm going to ask them again after the election, which is about now.
Okay, last thing, and this one I think you guys can help with. On a recent walk in town, in our side of the town, I noticed that there are no trash cans on Middle Neck Road from Fairview all the way to the post office on the east side of the street. And on the west side of the street, there are no trash cans from Mongebene all the way to the senior housing, aside from the trash cans that are in the actual village green. And there's seating in front of the Beach Road parking lot where people sit and eat and drink, and there's no trash cans
Okay, so
there.
say the.
Can you repeat the location?
Okay,
Fairview
Middle Neck
to-
Road,
Yes.
on the east side, from Fairview to the post office. There's not a single trash can. And across the street, from Mongebene, all the way down to the senior housing on the corner of Arundel, there are trash cans in the park, but nothing on the street. And Beach Road parking lot, by the music conservatory, there's a bench there where people sit and eat and drink, and there's no trash can. So it gets really dirty.
But where is that one?
Beach Road, like across from Mongebene, there's the music school. It's right
All
there.
right,
It's the
okay.
corner of Beach.
Yeah, there's a parking lot there.
There's a place that. All right, there are chairs, like there's a bench,
No, it's just a
couple of
bench.
benches.
Just a bench, okay? And it's just very, that there's no garbage
Also,
can.
the other thing, I mean, since I got the dog, a lot of people tell me that I don't walk my dog on Middle Neck Road. We're on this side, but a lot of people ask for these trash cans
For doggies?
for doggies. I think that's really something we need to possibly consider also. I think to walk around with a poop bag.
Maybe we need some for masks too, because there's a lot of masks on the floor by the high school.
Oh, the mask you
I
can throw in the
know.
garbage.
Yeah, but thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
How's Malka? How's Malka?
Oh, very well, thank you. I think she saw your daughter the other day.
I'll mention those.
Yeah. Yep, Jean and David.
That last comment, I don't think we have to go to the expense of having doggy poop trash cans. Good grief. They just usually throw them in somebody's yard anyway when they go by.
So you would consider to do that? Tell people to just
no,
throw
I
it?
just tell the people to pick it up.
Okay.
Um, I agree with Karen. We have to do something about Arundel Avenue in that section of our village. The cars are speeding incredibly because they want to beat that light at the corner at Middle Neck Road. This has been an ongoing thing for years and years and years. I mean, we used to have a policeman around the corner of Maple from time to time. He'd sit there in his car and he'd shoot out and he'd get people, but that's all gone in the past now. That doesn't happen. But we do have to do something on Arundel again.
I agree with you. I had recently suggested a LED stop sign going west on Arundel by Maple.
Going west?
Going west because they go right through that stop sign.
And
This is
Wood Road has
Yes.
got a stop sign,
Right.
but it's very dangerous.
It
They
slows
don't-
them down at least if they have that lit up stop sign, because a lot of times the tree is overgrown, and even though they may trim it, people stop noticing it and they just go right through. I stood there on Saturday and I saw every car slow down a little, but not one stopped. Not one, and there must have been like 40 cars that
And
came
that's
by.
right, and then you've got Wood
Yep.
Road, they're coming out of there, they're coming out of Margaret Court, it's
Yeah.
really,
No, I agree with you.
I can ask the pop officer to monitor those roads.
okay.
Definitely around Maple. Maple is.
Yes, that whole
yeah.
section is bad,
I agree.
and I should know, I live there.
Yeah, no, I see.
I see you run every morning. Another thing I'll wait till he's finished.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
No, you're not, you're playing with your phone.
I can do two things at a time. But okay, go ahead.
You get dementia that way early when you're not concentrating on what someone's saying. That's a proven fact.
Oh, really?
No, it's true.
Personal experience?
Anyway, what was that?
Go ahead.
I'm getting hard of
I
hearing.
know, it's okay.
Too much texting.
E-bikes. That's another problem we have, especially on Arundel, because it's such a straight road. If they're not on the road, which is very dangerous, these e-bikes, and they're young kids.
E-bikes?
Yeah.
E-bikes, okay.
If they're not on the road, they're on the sidewalks. So it's a danger to the cars, and then it's a danger to the people walking on the sidewalks. You're getting a lot of teenagers, a lot of people on those, they're just whizzing on the sidewalks. We have to pass some kind
I know
of
there have
law.
been accidents in other places. I have not heard of accidents here. Have there been accidents in our village?
I believe it's been on the peninsula, but not in the village. I believe it was in the last police
Well, not
deployment.
everything's
And no,
reported.
well, I know. And is there anything that the village can do? Can we outlaw
No, not
these
outlaw.
bikes?
Those are moving violations.
No, but can you say that you cannot have certain? I don't know what you can say.
These aren't bicycles, they whiz by you.
Are you talking
It's
about
like
the
jumping.
bicycles, or are you talking
No,
about
the
the
e-bikes, they're
the,
on
the real
sidewalks.
bikes?
Electric bikes.
But they have an electric motor that.
I know, but they're bikes.
accelerates
They're like
Yes.
bikes and they go fast.
It's
But
like a
they also
motorcycle
have
on
these
the
other
side.
things that the
What-
scooters.
But what are you asking?
I think those are more dangerous than bikes.
Nothing could be done about it, but it's a danger for people on the sidewalks.
There are traffic laws in New York State that apply to the movement of vehicles on the roads.
And the sidewalks.
They shouldn't be on sidewalks. I don't think they're allowed on sidewalks. But
Correct, sir. There,
Yesterday there was 4 nearly knocked this woman over. There were 4 of them on the sidewalk. That was Middle Neck Road.
But-
Zoom, zoom.
I don't know. Again, I don't know if there's anything the village can do, because we don't have.
Well, you have a sign, no smoking outside stores. You have
And people don't smoke.
People smoke.
If they do,
We have stop signs. People stop. We have speed limit signs. Do
So
people
what do
go
we do?
slow?
Have no
So I'm
rules?
asking you. You're asking me what is it that we can do? I mean,
Well,
we
I'm
can.
not sitting over there. I don't make the laws. You have legal counsel to do that.
Okay.
It's not the making the laws, Gene, it's the enforcement of the laws.
Then that's your job to enforce the
No,
laws.
because that would be a policing issue.
And you could.
Mayor, I will look into the issue.
It's really
There is an interplay between the village's right to regulate traffic and the state's right to determine what vehicles it will license to travel roads. But I will investigate what we could do with
I think you
respect to
should ask the
sidewalks.
state legislature and the senator.
Sidewalks.
I don't think they're
I,
allowed in
I will look
sidewalks.
into that, Mayor.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, and could I just ask quickly, you mentioned
Yes.
you mentioned we have to wait till after the election, this election today?
Yes.
Today.
Yes, I'm going to ask again.
So for the IDA,
Yes.
what
I don't know.
why should that impact?
Everything has to do with politics, so we have to wait and see what they decide.
Because of the election?
Yes.
I don't understand.
You'll understand after the election.
You mean they might say after the election today, when it's finished, we're not going to have the IDA anymore?
No, that they may say we're going to have an IDA.
Well, we do have it.
The IDA has been apparently has been
Yes,
on
Mayor,
hold
I believe you're
indefinitely.
referring to the power to appoint members to the IDA, which,
Even on the decision,
which-
right, that and also on decision making, because they are not going to make certain decisions that may not be popular before the election.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
Okay, so after today, we should know how long, what we're going to do about
Right.
what Karen
So
said.
let's
the
see.
building.
Right. Listen, I don't like to see that eyesore either. Believe me.
Well, you don't have to see it. You live on Station Road. It's
But I live in.
we see it.
Okay.
It's our backyard.
I want to tell you something. Just newsflash. I don't stay in my house. I travel around a lot, so I see it all the time. Just FYI.
Yeah, but you're not living next
You're
door
right.
to it.
Okay. Thank you. Gene. All right. David.
David Slinziger, 15 Beach Road. I would like to add that what others have said from the public and one of the trustees, we should probably have the 6th precinct put a car on Arundel and Maple and just watch some of the behavior there, because they're absolutely right, and there is a problem there. I do have some questions. The picnic bench and all that, just to the north of Everfresh, there's constant litter there, and people are using it, but they're clearly not cleaning up after themselves. Now, the village employees aren't the ones who put litter there, it's the people who are eating and using that place. Is there any way we could get Everfresh to better police that property?
They don't know. Yeah, they do that, but you know what you have to realize, there are 2 garbage cans that I see there, and they're
Right.
always full. Now let me ask you, for that specific site, there are garbage can compressors that are used, and I think no,
No, you're talking
that
about-
is used public.
You're talking about the standalone
The
ones. that
standalone
town
ones
puts out.
that is used by public. I'm not talking about the compressors that the
They have
big
them in the
business.
city.
Right.
It's a garbage can that compresses garbage.
That park is private property, it's not the village's property.
I understand.
Yes,
So I'm just saying
can
maybe.
we get Everfresh just to better police that place and empty the cans more frequently and clean
Yeah,
the litter
they
up?
do that, but it's not. It's not so easy.
Whose
They
garbage
do.
can is that? Is that Everfresh's or
Yeah.
Village?
Which one?
So
The garbage can is ours.
there's 2 garbage cans and they're always full.
So I'm saying if you're
Yeah.
putting our garbage can, we can put in the garbage cans that actually compress it,
Correct.
especially in that area. It's going to be costly, but I think it's worth the investment.
You might want to check the Park District, because they did that at Stepping Stone. They say it's a pain in the neck.
We'll look into it.
All right.
Okay.
Another question, as it was discussed about the IDA. During the hearing, the chairman said that he had reached out to you, the mayor, and you never responded to his phone calls
I have spoken to him 3 times already.
since that hearing.
Yes.
Fine. So, and is there any, so that at least clears that matter up. Another question.
And I never got a call from him before I reached out to him. I heard that he wanted to call me, or he tried to reach with me. I'd never, not here, not even on my email or my phone, that I received a
Well,
phone call.
I could only go by what he said
True,
during the
but I'm
hearing.
just letting.
And I wonder, and he also, he was here, he actually sat here in the front row at the hearing that was held in the village hall. Then I had another question that I kind of informally asked the superintendent about. How are we doing in terms of hiring a qualified inspector to add to the workforce? Is there any progress on that?
Yes, we have interviews set up for next week.
So is there a thought that maybe during November a person will be hired, or?
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
Okay. Another question is, has the synagogue at Piccadilly and Middle Neck Road, the Kol Yisrael Alchim, have they gotten their certificate of occupancy?
No.
So they're not using that place yet. I mean, it looks finished, but there seems to be activity there.
There's some issues with after the flooding that they're straightening out, and there's things that they're working on to finish it and get it done.
Okay.
With fire marshals, etc.
All right, because I was just wondering about that.
It's close.
Yeah, but the point is, it doesn't have it. So, okay, we'll ask about that next time. Another thing is, I had complained previously about the for sale signs at 12 Ravine.
12 Ravine.
Right, still there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fading, I guess, in the rain and all that.
We're hoping it washes away down Ravine.
Yeah, but that's not the point. It
No,
shouldn't
I'm
be
just
there in
saying.
the first place.
What is this, the 12 Ravines for sale sign?
There's a little sign.
There's a
for sale that's
subdivision there. It's
towards the
been there for
curb
months.
Because the house is a flag lot and the house is set all the way back. You put the sign all the way up by the house, you won't be able to see it.
Is there an issue?
Well, you're not allowed to have for sale signs up on your property permanently.
All right.
And it's been there for months, so.
Okay. They haven't sold the
I've
house.
mentioned this here several times, and it's still there. It was there
Right.
today.
I'm sure if this house was sold, they would take it out.
Of course, but the point is, it's not the point.
Okay.
The sign just shouldn't
I
be
know.
there in the
Okay.
first place.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
This is a really big one. I've been saving it for the last.
Oh, thanks.
Good to
Can
have
we
you
do
back,
anything
Sam.
about the light bulbs right at the sidewalk here?
That's
Say it again?
That's Jean's line.
Well,
So,
she already had her piece. Just can we get the light bulbs on the street lamps that are leading up to the steps to Village Hall here? It's
The-
dark.
Again?
Yes.
The one right in the front or by the
Well, when I came here, it was already dark, maybe because of
By the street?
timing. It's
By the street?
Are they
yes,
talking
by
about
the
this
street,
Oh, by the street. Okay.
right at the street.
by the steps coming
Yes.
up?
Okay.
I thought we
That's
changed
all.
those.
If
All
we
right.
could just get the light bulbs.
All right. Thank you. I come from this side, so I don't see it.
How many trustees does it take to screw in a light bulb?
If it's very quick. Okay. It's past my bedtime. No, it's way past my bedtime.
No, no.
Mine,
done.
when you get to my age, then you can say
All
that.
right. Tell me, Jean.
You said you had spoken to the IDA 3 times. Did anything come out of that? Is there anything transpired at all?
We had a discussion.
To wait till after the election.
And we can't know about it.
There's nothing that is reportable yet. We had discussions. He asked some questions, I answered him, just that's it. The questions he wanted to ask me, I gave him the answers, that's all.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
No, okay.
Moved by trustee Hope, seconded by trustee Hashi. All in favor?
All right, thank you very much, everybody.